please raise your hand. Just raise your hand. Okay, thank you very much. I have to let you know, I don't think you have seat belts on those chairs. You might want to think about finding some seat belts as you venture into the world of Qivana. Daniel, Rich, and I have become close friends through this business, and the partnerships that are forming here with our teams coming together is going to bring this company to a whole new level. What I tell people all the time is find your story. Just find your story. Can you hear me in the back there, okay? Find your story. What does that mean? Everyone has a story. How you grew up, the parents you had, where you went to school, some of your challenges in life, maybe some of the sports. Everyone has a story. Just find what that story is and tell it. I'm going to kick things off by passing the ball over to Danielle so she could briefly tell you her story and why she came into this business. We came in for two different reasons, polar opposites, but we came together in some commonality here known as Qivana. And you're absolutely going to be amazed as you see people come on the stage, testimonial after testimonial. Danielle, I've known you now for almost 3 years. You came like a shooting star. Danielle, by the way, holds the record for fastest to diamond. Was it 8 weeks? 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Summer vacation for about that time. And Danielle launched the diamond in 8 weeks. Tell them how you did it.
My husband Don, just say hi to everyone. I couldn't do the business without Don's support. We came into the business because Debbie DeMayo and her husband, she's in the back there, she literally changed the course of our lives. That is absolutely not an exaggeration. Each and every one of you that got invited here today as a guest that's not yet in this business have absolutely no idea how big what's in front of you really is. I had no idea the day that we heard about Qivana, but Debbie and her husband, Debbie's been a good friend of mine. She was a client of one of my businesses, became just a dear friend, and her husband became our accountant. She was our bookkeeper at several of our businesses. And one day in the middle of going through foreclosure, because I'm a licensed realtor, my husband and I own a construction company, things got really tough. That should tell you right there, realtor and construction, lots of fun. Lots of fun the last few years. But Don and I are really hard workers, and nothing we did was making the money come in. It was slowly just dwindling away, and then within a 60-day period, we saw our income go from, $10,000, $15,000 a month down to zero for 7 months, no paychecks. And we just ate away all of our income, sold our heavy equipment, just watched our house go into foreclosure. It was a very, very scary time. We have 2 children. And we were at a point in our life where we were very desperate for help, and so many people we loved came out and helped us financially. But then we were in a pit, and we didn't know how many years. We literally calculated how many years it would take us to pay off all the 6 figures of debt, pay off our mortgage, pay off the back end of our mortgage. And Debbie walked up to me. This is exactly what you get to do in this business every day of your life in Qivana. This is the critical key point of what we do. She walked up to me and she said, "Lou and I love you. There's a company that we think is going to be absolutely global. It's fantastic. We've checked it inside and out. We love you. We want you to take a look at it. We think you could be your ticket out." Those are the words she said. Hello.
Electrifying.
I think I just jump-started my heart again. So that is all we do in this business. And that's why I think I just came out of the gate so quickly. I didn't look at it as trying to sell people. We're not trying to sell any of you today. We're looking to see if what we have to share with you resonates. And I know there's millions of people right now that are hurting for income. So when Debbie said that, I didn't do any cartwheels, but I said, all right, we'll take a look. It took us a week, and the night that Albert and Debbie came to our home, I was like, oh, we're missing our favorite show, let's get this over with. Some of you today are like, when's lunch? Just listen for a few minutes, because we listened. And at the end of that 30-minute presentation, we were absolutely sure that we wasted money on dumber things. We were like, we can't miss maybe the opportunity to bring in a little more money right now because we had nothing coming in. So our mindset was, this looks like it's going to be huge. Let's throw some spaghetti at the wall, as our Italians say, and let's see what sticks. So I went into it having 3 businesses, 2 children, and absolutely the busiest person I know. And Debbie said, listen, you can work this into your day. A couple hours here and there a week, and then work it in 8 to 10 hours if you can. And right outside of the gate, I just gave up TV at night, and I made an hour of phone calls every night, sometimes 2. And within 7 or 8 weeks, because all I did was pick up the phone and say, you know, we love you, we know things are tough for you right now. We called my husband and I contacted everyone that we knew that was financially hurting, which was pretty much everyone. We said, take a look. Out of 103 people I called, 48 people took a look. And out of 48 people, 21 joined. Since then, we've signed another 10. So only 31 people has turned into over 1,250 people in our organization. And we came out of foreclosure. We're making 5 figures a month. I'm losing weight, feeling good, feel fantastic, watching my family, my friends, and everyone I love making a paycheck, and it's just been amazing. So you never know when you're going to get blasted. This was a huge blessing for us.
How many of you know someone that was in the same position as Danielle and Don? How many? Can you hear me? Okay, let's see. Is that better?
Oh, that's better.
The reason I'm asking you that question is because as a financial expert for more than 30 years, I'm seeing more and more people having a hard time with the economy. And this economy is not giving us any kind of signs of relief right now. I'm not telling you this is an alarmist. I'm telling you this is a realist who studies the markets and studies economies. Now, Danielle and Don came in because they had more time than they had money. Remember I said about polar opposites? I had the exact opposite. I had no time. My wife and I were making a good living, but in 2008, when Debbie Campisi made that magic phone call to me as I was leaving for the airport, I was on the road for 253 days in 2008. Now, for those of you who are family members who have children, I got to tell you, that puts a lot of stress on family. But more importantly, when I walked out of the door with my suitcase packed, I would always see my 12-year-old at the time. My 12-year-old was looking at me more or less saying, Dad, you going again? And bam, that would hit me. Now, I get choked up thinking about this because I remember his face. And Debbie called me and said, I have a way to make money, big money, doing it from home. Click. She caught me at the right time. And I immediately, this is how I signed into the business. I said, Deb, I don't even know what the product is. I don't know about this Qivana company. I have no idea. I just pronounced it, the whole thing. And I said, send me an email on how I would get enrolled, and I'll do it while I'm at the airport. And that's exactly what I did. Debbie and I actually both signed in the wrong way, and we had Steve Perkins in the office fix it. But the great thing, they did. Steve is an amazing guy. He fixes all our problems. But the great thing is, what Debbie told me from the very beginning was true. And then I started meeting people like Danielle and Don and Bob Sager. I called Bob Sager, and Bob signed in, said, I don't have time for this, put it under my wife. Remember that? No. And then a little bit afterwards, I called Bob up, and Bob got the picture. And guess what happened? All of a sudden, we have another shooting star. And then we have Tom Duddit in California. He came out after I got off stage at a Tony Robbins event. He says, I'm in. I want Canada. Guess what Tom is doing? He's basically growing one of the fastest growing groups, not just in Qivana, but in the world. And he's doing it internationally. He's having the very first, he and Mark Danelle and the team out there is building the very first, next Saturday is the very first international regional conference. The very first. Look at the empty seats in this room. These will not be empty for very long, folks. The next time you come back to a meeting like this, we're going to have to definitely knock down this wall or expand into a bigger room. That's just the way it is. We're seeing growth, and that's what's the company. Now, we talk about the founders. Talk a little bit about the founders, because this is what really got my attention. These are the brains behind the movement, and there's 5 founders. And you have to understand, how many of you have been in partnerships where there's 2 people in the partnership? Raise your hand. Outside of marriage. Right? You know how difficult that could be, right? And many times, partnerships with just 2 people crumble because of this difference of opinion or disagreements. There are 5 partners working in perfect harmony. Perfect harmony. You just don't see that happening in the corporate world. These are equal partners in the business. And they are the driving force. Talk a little bit about our founders, please.
Well, I've opened several companies, worked for some great management teams. I worked for a hotel in Connecticut that had multi-millionaires that ran it, and I thought they were a fantastic management team. And then I come into Qivana, never having been in direct sales, never doing MLM. I've seen people do well, I've seen people fail. But you know, I didn't know until that night when I saw the presentation and I heard their resumes. See, a very big thing in life is look at the past. The past will predict pretty much the future of what someone's going to do. And when I found out that 4 of our 5 founders built 3 of the largest direct sales companies in the world. They're still massive brands, putting incredible products out to the world. I knew if this was their 4th time, they had learned some lessons in the other companies and they were going to do this one even better. So that right there gave me a lot of peace. Knowing that we started this company debt-free, knowing that we don't owe, that we're not spending more than we're making, that was huge to me as well. We need a financially strong company. We're one of the strongest. And then knowing that Garrett Hall ran the largest pharmaceutical company in the world, took them from $10 billion to $23 billion in less than 10 years. And if you're in sales like I am, no mergers or acquisitions, $1 billion a year in growth during economic rough times, that's amazing. So for me, he's a marketing genius. Everything he touches turns to gold. His whole resume, Garrett Hall's whole resume, his whole life has been taking companies from messes to millions, and from millions to multi-millions and billions. So you have to understand, he's branded the largest pharmaceutical company in the world. He's taken them into now a $125 billion a year company. He left McKesson for one reason. He saw a global shift away from pharmaceuticals. I see it every day now, more in Qivana than even before I got into Qivana, because people are desperate to feel better, get healthy. We need products that work. And so he said, listen, I want to get together with these other 4 owners. And they decided to in 2008, in the worst economic times, open the company that is literally going to be the largest nutraceutical company in the world. And he has 20 years in nutraceuticals, 25 years in pharmaceuticals, put those together with his resume, and it's unparalleled. And very impressive what they've done.
And 2 of our founders are actually in the room. Craig Johansson right up front. Please stand up, Craig. And Roger. Very well deserved. And the other part about the founders, and we talked about this last night at a special dinner that we had with some of our leaders. The founders in this company started a culture. They started a culture that is multiplying and duplicating around the world. Now, why is that important? Years ago, I worked with a company as a consultant called Charles Schwab. You ever hear of that company? It's one of the largest brokers. Well, Chuck Schwab is the head of that founder. He created a culture. He created a culture around people, about helping the small investor, helping the small guy against the big institutions. He embraced a mission, and the employees in that company rallied around that mission. And what happened, he became one of the greatest stockbrokers of all time and continues to do billions and billions of dollars worth of business around the world, not just in the U.S. This is just the beginning stages of what's going to be. And I'm telling you something, I'm not saying this as a high-in-the-sky story. This company, mark my words, date the time and the day that you're here, will be, with a capital W, it will be the largest nutraceutical company in the world with no problem with competition. Done. It will be. I didn't believe that with my heart. I would not be on stage. I would not be on stage. And I'm going to tell you why I'm on this stage. Like Danelle, we care about people. I'm going to tell you this now instead of later because I might forget later. My wife and I have been blessed with great careers. We did not come in this for the money. Remember what I said, we came in for time. But my mission is to find 50 people. I don't care where you're coming from. It doesn't have to be my organization, Danelle's. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. I want to find 50 people and elevate you to the level of millionaire status. This is reality. Think about those people who want to be in that position. You don't have to raise your hand, but I want to find 50 people. I have 13 who have already claimed the position. 13. I need 37 more people to total 50. We talked about this in Teresa's room last night when we were having a little after the meeting. This group of 50 I want to call the Jubilee Group. The Jubilee Group will be a group of volunteers held anonymously that will be willing to donate a portion of their money in commissions to a good cause. We're going to pool our money together. Now think about this. I get goosebumps when I tell you this because it's true. Imagine this group of 50 voting on who's going to get the next donation. And we go to a local bank and we find out that there was a woman who was recently widowed. She has children still at home. She's got debt up to her eyeballs, and her mortgage is out of control. Imagine anonymously going to that bank president and say, we as an anonymous group will send a messenger if we have to, want to pay that mortgage off. Can you help us? Think about the hungry children that are out there that we could help with our metabolic sticks. We get together, instead of giving them money, we ship Qivana product. That's been done. We did that in Haiti. We shipped product to Japan after the nuclear reactor crumbled down there and the radiation poisoning. We're about changing the world, and I have to calm down a little bit here. I understand that, but this is real. This is not like what you may have seen as hype. We're not up here with cheerleaders and pom-poms. We are here to build a company, and we need your help. If you get the message and this resonates, come join us.
That's right. What I want to do, nuclear fission is going to take off today if we get too close. Very enthusiastic, more than I was 15 months ago when we got in, because I now know that this is the real deal. It's beyond what you can imagine if you put the work in. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. I've worked it, but I've been able to fit it into my life and not have to work it full-time. That's a huge factor for a lot of people in making a decision to join a direct sales company. Some of the things you see up here, I'm very big into numbers and facts and statistics because facts don't lie. Top 7 reasons for considering a direct selling business. 5 of these came from the Wall Street Journal. June of 2011, a 40-page supplement was put in there. We are getting such recognition in our industry. Some of this industry has had a bad name because, and every industry has, things that happen and people that come in and do the wrong thing. But that shouldn't be a precursor, and it shouldn't be something that allows you to think that every company is that way. And when I found out really truly what this industry is about, we are being touted by the likes of Donald Trump and Bill Gates. He said if he were to do it all over again, he would get into network marketing. Donald Trump said that on TV last year, and he got booed, and he goes, that's why I'm on stage and you guys aren't. Okay? So a lot of amazing, and what I'm going to show you, the statistics I'm going to give you now, some of you are going to need a pen and paper for this. The statistics I'm going to give you are going to show you, literally, factually, how our industry is growing by leaps and bounds. Would we all agree that the last 10 years has probably been one of the hardest economically for all of us? Okay. In the last 10 years, this last decade, our industry has grown 90%. That's a staggering number. $28.6 billion in the year 2010 in the United States of America alone was injected into households in the U.S. economy from direct sales company. People be involved in Tupperware, in Qivana, in the Herbalifes of the world, the New Skins of the world, because how many people can afford to really open a 6-figure business? We did it. Don and I opened up a franchise, cost us $160,000 out of our home. We took it out of our equity, and then 30 days later, our construction tanked. How many people right now could afford to write a check and open up that kind of business? In a business for direct sales, what I love is it gives us, who are average people, the ability, very low sign-in investment. Then low overhead monthly to run it. Our gym costs us $16,000 to $18,000 a month before Don and I pull the paycheck. In this business, I spend less than $250 a month, and I use the product, so for me it's nothing. But the beauty is I am able to bring a return on investment that I've never seen in any other business before. To be able to take the investment we put in and turn it over 121 times in the last 15 months is absolutely been extraordinary. So having no cap on your income is huge. A couple more. Every day in the U.S., 8,493 people open a business in their home. 15.8 million people work from home. But the most important thing you need to know is that by the year 2015, because of where we are economically, 50% of the U.S. households will be involved in a direct selling company. So maybe the husband's working, the wife's working, but she's working her Avon business. Or maybe the daughter is doing something in Herbalife. But people are looking for a way to bring in more revenue. Now, not every one of you here today is looking to exit your current job or industry. I looked at it as the ability to literally get out of where we're at. I want to retire. And this offers me the opportunity. Some of you are just looking to do what my parents are doing. They want to just be able to supplement in between the real estate market right now. It's very hard to keep a deal together. My father's been struggling with that. Many realtors are struggling right now. And we have 57 realtors on our team. And they're one of the biggest people that really love this because they need the supplemental income. They're very driven, they're very credible, they're natural networkers. But for them to be bringing $3,000 to $4,000 home a month for 5 to 8 hours a week of introducing people to Qivana while they're working their other businesses has been wonderful. It gives me peace knowing that their mortgage is paid, their car payments are paid, because we don't know when this will turn around. So I'm able to introduce them, and that's what happens in direct selling. It's amazing. And one more statistic I'm going to give you before I pass it back to AJ. From the age of 25 to 65, most of us know there's that 40-year plan, and we're told at the age of 65 we would retire. 95% of Americans cannot afford to retire at the age of 65. 5% can. Out of 100 people who start at the age of 25 and finish at the age of 65, one is wealthy. I don't know which of you that will be. 4 of you can afford to retire out of 100. 66 are on some form of Social Security, Medicare, charity. 29 are deceased. The numbers are not in our favor. The numbers are not in my parents' favor, which is what was scary for me, because I knew they lost their retirement in the 2 economic downturns in '97 and again. So understand that there are enough people out there in the worst of economic times that need an opportunity to bring in more income. The products that we're going to talk about are going to blow your mind. If the products didn't work, we wouldn't have as big of a success as we are for all of us. Because what we're finding is the products are so unique and they're science-based and they work. If a product doesn't work, are you going to spend $250 a month on a product shipment? Absolutely not. It's the first thing you're going to drop off of, because you'd rather put groceries in the house. But when a product works so well that it changes a person's body, or their metabolism is corrected, or their type 2 diabetes medication goes away, or they can lower their blood pressure meds, or come off of their meds, that is powerful, and that's what we do. And that's why this company is going global, because we have the answer that most companies don't provide to the world. We have products that work, we have science-based products, and we have an awesome opportunity to bring in income.
And the numbers that Danielle just recited to you there, that's from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics.
Yes.
That's just not made up, pulled out off the internet. That's documented evidence that what's happening out there is a plan that's not working. Now, Danielle, I think I was supposed to get the slide clicker. I don't know where that is. We're going to give you the 50,000-foot view of the product system. We talked about the founders already. There's a gentleman sitting in the front row right here, Dr. Danelle. He's halfway, right in the middle there. You can read from the slide, but let me tell you something. Imagine being this gentleman right here, sitting in that chair, after spending 30 years of research as a research scientist out of Chicago, and finally seeing his work of 3 decades going out into the world and affecting people in a positive way. Could you imagine what's going through this man's mind and how motivated and inspired he is by you, seeing all of you here at a regional conference, knowing that this is going to get bigger and bigger? Folks, you, each and every one of you, have the power to have a positive impact on millions of people around the world. We're not just talking about 13 or 20. We're talking about the organizations that you build and grow around the world, and ultimately you will be responsible, and your group will be responsible for having an impact on millions of lives for the better. That's an incredible opportunity for us, and that's what's driving us. It's more than the money. It's more than the money, and these are the folks that are behind the brains of the product systems. We are, again, not going to get into the details, because after we get off stage, Dr. Lehman is going to blow your socks off with the science behind some of the new discoveries. I'm not going to take that thunder away. It's incredible. I've seen the presentation. You're going to see flashbulbs going off like crazy here. But this is the idea. This is the brilliance that our founders brought to the market. There are tons of companies out there that are going to sell you product after product after product, giving you a huge product menu. We're not going to do that. We're a systems-based company. We have systems that work synergistically, developed by the doctors, not endorsed by the doctors. Big deal. Because you can pay any doctor enough money to endorse a product. That's not what we have here. It's developed by doctors. Take a look. You can browse the table later and look at the systems that we have nicely packaged. I still have a picture of the first box that ever rolled up, the conveyor belt. This is the first product system that came out. The core essentials. You got the Prime, which is the most recent that came out. Another rock star in our systems product. And you got the metabolic, which again is the brainchild of Dr. Lehman and his team. We're not going to get into the minute details. You're going to learn about that throughout the day. But let me tell you what, I don't know if we want to go into this. We'll just glance over this. We're not going to get into the science. But this right here, this was the only product we had. This is absolutely the best probiotic in the market. That was the only product we had. Each and every one of us would be secure in our incomes. If that was the only thing we had. So learn about that. How many of you are using that for probiotic? Look at this. Take a look around the room. Everyone's taking that little BB in the morning. It's the same thing sometimes I take too. It's really great. Okay. This is the detox system.
We're going to
It's
leave the slide
defense.
up for Darcy.
You're gonna leave, okay. Now, this is the best part of our presentation right
Yes.
now. We get to bring up the rock stars that have testimonials that are stories that keep going and going. Danielle, why don't you take it there and we'll
Sure.
kind of work it in.
So